And we're in a place where 1/3 of the United States workers don't make a living wage. So there's an issue, there's a problem. And the only way to break the cycle and to get past this is if we get leaders, people that own businesses, people that have their own companies, people that have employees, to understand that when you pour into people, when you care about them, when you pay a living wage, you are going to keep them longer. You're going to have less expenses. You actually will make more money.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. One of the most important things to consider when you're trying to get investors, donors, and sponsors is your brand. That's why today's guest came to us for help. Chason Forehand is the founder of HR4U, a nonprofit with a mission to empower change-driven companies and their leaders to advocate for and uplift their employees with living wages, worth, and well-being. Today, we'll learn about his personal journey and how his remarkable business and mission actually began.
Chason, welcome to Be Bold Branding.
Hey, it's good to be here. It's good to be here with both of you. And it's nice to meet you, Michael, face to face. I've seen all of the other people, or most of the other people that are in the mix, but it's been fantastic. You guys did a great job.
Thank you for saying that. We really appreciate it. We want to know a little bit of your story. Share with us a little bit of background and what got you to what you're doing and then what led you to us.
Well, you know what? I am the oldest of a gaggle of boys, and my father spent a lot of time by himself helping to raise us. And we are a group of kids that are brats and us Irish mugs that just get in trouble a ton. So I know that I was a handful, but all of my family's in the fashion industry, and most of them here in New York City. But I went the path of being in the culinary arts. And it really happened because I couldn't find other work to do. When I went to college, I graduated from high school early, got into college, made great grades, did really well. I was in all honors. Everything should have been on a path of just the normal success that you have for a kid in my circumstances, coming from a lower middle class family. But I started at the end of high school really struggling with some of the trauma from my life and earlier in my life, and the things of abandonment, etc. And I started dabbling in drugs, and that became an addiction. And then that led to me being homeless. And the only people that would take me, because I had some skill, that was my first couple of jobs, was working in the food industry. So I had some skill. I was quick on my feet, ambidextrous, and had good knife skills, even at an early age. And so I was able to get a job. And even when I screwed up and would be on a bender and wouldn't show up for days, they were happy that I did show up when I did show up. Or when I got in trouble and was let go, I could go across the street and get another job. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is because I look the way I do, I speak well, and I can clean myself up. So that kind of brought me into a journey that was about transforming myself and transforming the person that I saw on the other side of the mirror, liking that person and getting to a phase that I could grab hold of that, be okay with that person staring back at me in the mirror, and then decide on where that journey was going to take me next. So we've been on this crazy journey doing all kinds of good stuff. I've been doing a lot of work on the side for nonprofits with my own HR company that I have, that I started back in 2012. And the crazy thing is that through the pandemic and all the stuff that I saw through this trauma and my own journey, we decided at the end of 2022 to create a nonprofit to help people find a living wage. And so that's where I got in touch with you guys, because I've known Mike Ashebrainer, that Mike Ashebrainer dude. I've known him for like 3 years or so. And we met through SPN. And then he told me, when I was telling him about our store, and he had been following me and saw what our needs were, he said, I want to introduce you to some people that might could help you get to the next level. And we had gotten small sponsorships. We were making a little bit of money. We were moving in the right direction, doing the right things, but we needed help. We needed people from outside that could come with fresh eyes and take a look at what we were doing. And so that's how we got to where we found you. And it's a blessing. You guys have been a blessing.
Well, you're a blessing for saying that.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, I love that. And we love Michael Ashbrander too. I mean, that guy's awesome. You know?
he is awesome. He is awesome. Well, before we get into the branding conversation, so you decided to come up with, to start a nonprofit. It's called HR4U. And your mission was to increase every employee to a living wage. I want to know, when you first came up with this idea, did you receive any negative feedback from people? And if so, what was that?
Well, sure, especially in the service industry. The easiest thing to do is to put the blinders on and say, you know what, I can't see past the P&L, the profit and loss statements. I can't see past that to figure out how I'm going to pay a living wage to people and really pour into them. It's easy to say that because you look at that P&L and you go, oh, I can't increase people's wage. We're barely doing X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. But when you start breaking down numbers, because numbers don't lie, facts don't lie, data is data. When you start looking at that data of how much it costs you to rotate through people, and in the service industry, what is it, 50, 60%? I mean, I don't know what the current rate is in each state, but I know in New York, especially in my area, it's 52% turnover rate. And we're in a place where 1/3 of the United States workers don't make a living wage, and 50% of the workers in New York area do not make a living wage. So there's an issue, there's a problem. And the only way to break the cycle and to get past this is if we get leaders, people that own businesses, people that have their own companies, people that have employees, to understand that when you pour into people, when you care about them, when you pay a living wage, when you give them benefits, when you create safe spaces, you are going to keep them longer. You're going to have less expenses from everything from hiring to uniforms to all these other things. You actually will make more money. And there are people a lot smarter than this old hockey dude that have figured it out and put it in paper. MIT and Harvard and Money Magazine and all these Forbes, all of these other people and all these other agencies that have documented this really well to say, hey, here's the steps. But in the service industry especially, we have this phenomenon where we look at these super tight bottom lines and we just say we can't do it. And we just shut down. And it's a tragedy. And so coming from being in the service industry basically all my life, I realized that there is an opportunity to create change.
Being an entrepreneur all my life, I know exactly what that looks like, to look at the P&L and say, I just can't. Like, how am I going to bring on that next person for growth? How am I going to, I don't have it. It's not there. It's not. Yeah. And then investing in the right people. And I worked in the industry, the restaurant industry for a while out of school, supplementing my income and stuff. And I know super tight budgets, food waste and things like that. But yeah, it's a revolving door. People in, people out, people in, people out. There goes 4 more shirts. Right. Yeah. There goes 4 more aprons. There goes 4 more. And that's just regular restaurants,
That's just the small stuff.
That's small stuff. Right. That's not even the bigger stuff in the bigger, nicer restaurants. So who would you think is your biggest advocate when you decide to start the company? Who's the other side of that?
I think leaders that are very progressive, that understand that you've got to put people first. Mm-hmm. So, there are a lot of different versions of that, but people that want to create those safe spaces and they want to have healthier bottom lines that sustain through these ups and downs in the economy and not be so affected by the waves, that they are proactive in creating a unity and engaged group of people that come up with ideas. that are aggressive, that communicate, that care about each other, and that hold the line.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, the people that understand that, are the people that thrive longer and that have less issues with layoffs. All these layoffs that we see, so they start, they're all year long, but you hear more about them from December through like February, the end of the year, the beginning of the year, where they're horrible. And I think of how we can twist that and turn that by being very intentional about the steps we take to grow. And in those steps, making sure that we're caring for the people that we bring on and that are part of the team. And when we do that, amazing things happen. They start caring more about what we're doing. They're productive. They are telling more people about what they do. Mm-hmm. And they are thrilled to show up because they love what they do. Mm-hmm. That's a different type of business. And it takes intentionality to really create that and make sure that you sustain it, because it's an ongoing work. It isn't a flip of a switch. It isn't a box that you check. It's ongoing work. And it takes a lot of effort and intentionality.
It's advocates from the inside. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
It really does. I want to ask one more question before we get into the branding journey questions. I've known about a mission that you have called Transformation Kitchen that is in the works. And one of the reasons we wanted to work with you, because one of the things was, you wanted to make sure that the brand was very articulate and had a lot of clarity. So when your employees, employers, sponsors, donors, grant associations, so forth, go to your website or see you on any other platform where they first come into contact with you, they understand very clearly what it is that you do, so that becomes more profitable for you in the end, right?
Yep.
So Transformation Kitchen was heavy on your mind when we first talked and still is today. Tell us a little bit about what that is and why you want to do that. Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
I could talk about this all day, but I would give the Reader's Digest version so people don't fall asleep. And I know I skipped over and was talking about the brand before I was supposed to, but you guys are phenomenal.
Oh, you're awesome.
You're fine,
there's no wrong flow here. You're awesome.
So Transformation Kitchen is near and dear to my heart because I've worked for other nonprofits where they had a version of this. What we're doing is next level, and it is creating a production kitchen in the heart of the Hudson Valley in New York that teaches culinary skills, that teaches the participants their Serve Safe 5-year managers. They get their manager certificate. They learn power skills. They learn to take care of themselves. They learn about health and wellness, and they have the ability in the program and after the program ends, after they graduate, to be part of a network of people that care about them thriving versus surviving, and making sure that they have a living wage career and that they sustain that ongoing. So they will either work for us as we grow as part of the kitchen, or with our culinary partners that we have that are willing to pay a living wage. So there's a lot of components to it, but the easiest way to kind of break it down even further is to say that we're gonna have a huge impact on the community. It's going to be more than just the 60 plus students that go through. It's going to be about their families and about the communities, and that rippling effect that takes care of poverty, food insecurity, homelessness. We're attacking issues that are socioeconomic woes from people not making enough money and not being able to take care of their families. And so for us, it is something I'm extremely passionate about, and something that us as an organization, it's where the rubber meets the road. All of our programs that we do are basically virtual, but this one is the physicality of everything that we're working towards. And it is a way for us to give back and show firsthand, just what Michael was saying. It's a way to show firsthand, hey, look, businesses, you can do this. Look, we've got a bottom line. We're a nonprofit, but we still have a bottom line. We still have to pay our utilities. We still have to pay rent. We still have to take care of people. So this is how it's done. And that's powerful.
Yeah,
There's
that's
something very powerful about that.
Yeah. I like that for a million reasons too, because the main ones, you're utilizing the brand. We're going to talk about that a little bit. You're teaching people how to do this, and then you're also doing the mitzvah and showing them how to do it. Like if you don't just believe my words here. Look, we also can show you. This is exactly how. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it sure
is. Rubber meets the road. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this training ground, not just to be prepared to earn a living wage, but with the life skills that you need to maybe turn that or something else into a career while earning more than a living wage. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, a lot of things that encompasses Chason, and I can't wait for you to get that off the ground. So
neither can I.
Well, jump into the BrandFace and tell us why you joined. Like, what made you decide to come into the program?
Well, first and foremost, I think when we had a lot of conversations with people that wanted to help us over the last year. 2023 was a year of learning and growth. It was our first year being live. And there were a lot of people that came out of the woodworks, but you could tell that it was about the financial piece of it. You're going to pay us, we're going to do X. And I really felt like from my very first conversations with Tanya and the rest of the team, that this was heart-centered for you as well, that you felt passionate about. We're going to help you get to a next level so you can do the things that we feel like you want to do. And we're going to help you do good. And because of that, we're doing good. And I believe that. And it showed in every single conversation we had. So it was really, for me, I'm sure you both get it. You whether it's, being what they call pitch slap during some networking event or whatever, but all these people coming out of the woodworks to be like, I love you, Chason. I want to help you out. And that ended up coming with a big dollar amount thing, or, this 46-year program of what we're going to do. But this was succinct. We're going to help you. Here's where we're going to get. We're going to have eyes out of here. We're going to do the work, and we're going to listen, and we're going to do what we have the expertise to do to help you get where you need to be. And it's already showing. Yeah, if you look at our brand, if you look at the new version of our website, using some of those the wording and some of the steps that you gave us, and we're still making transitions. It's not an overnight process, but being able to get that information from you on how you envision where we should be as a brand and how we should be communicating it's extremely vital to our growth. And that's where we wanted to place ourselves at the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024, place ourselves in such a way that by the end of this year, we could open Transformation Kitchen. And that takes a lot of intentionality. It takes us getting a lot of financial resources from people. And that's not easy in this day and age. So there has to be a very clear message. And you've helped us hone that. It's working, and we're already seeing the effects of it. That makes us elated.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because it is our soul's desire to be able to do that for people. And you are definitely exemplifying the kind of clients we love working with. And your intentions are good. Your purpose is good. Your direction is good. And we're so happy to have been able to be a part of making that happen and continuing. We always say it, once you're part of BrandFace family, you're always a part of BrandFace family. So nobody ever goes away.
We
want to be there the day Transformation Kitchen opens.
Yes.
Okay.
That
All
would be
right.
fantastic.
We're in. We're in.
We'll be live streaming. So you're
That's right. Okay. So next question is, what was really the most eye-opening part of the branding process for you?
I think there were two things really. One, I am not someone, even though I have had some transitions in my journey and learned about myself, it was humbling and really just energizing, I guess, to listen as you told my story from your eyes. That was, I literally, I almost started crying. Like if we had not moved on to something else, I would have been bawling like a big baby. And then the second piece was how you take the message and put it into more concise wording to where just even for our mission statement, how we changed our mission statement to where people go, oh, before it was like, hey, I kind of get it, but can you explain more? Now it's like, oh, and using that on our website and in our social media and being able to take the branding handbook that you gave us and use that information to move on in social aspects. I mean, our YouTube channel's thriving. Our social media is starting to gain in other aspects and in other channels other than YouTube. We're seeing the effects of having sponsors that are coming to us now and saying, hey, I want to be part of what you're doing. And we're looking at our first fundraiser towards the end of March being something that is going to catapult us towards where we need to be. And so that's you being able to give us the right wording, the right phrasing, to be able to clarify our mission, vision, and purpose in such a way that gets people excited. And that gets me excited, because all along it's like, I've got all this energy and passion for what I'm doing, but I can't really explain it. And that seems funny from a guy that likes to talk as much as I do, but
I love it.
Yeah, no, I love that and appreciate it more than you know, because you are the exciting driver fact of that. Like that is that you are the core piece that pushes that. And but to know that you entrusted us with that messaging, I tell people that the secret of my success is just listening to everything Tanya tells me to do. And
amen.
I wish it was that simple.
The point of that is thank you for the trust in that, because we do take your message very, very serious. And we want that exact thing. And we want your sponsors and everybody following you to clearly, your ideal customer, to clearly understand what it is that you're doing and trying to accomplish, because that's the fast track to get there. Yeah. And you know the rest of those steps. And so to take that brand and somebody of your passion and character, to take that brand that we've helped you with and then put it out there to the world is really exhilarating for us on the other side of that. So,
oh yeah, it is
very, very exciting.
And I will say, I really appreciate you saying you almost cried like a baby, because it would definitely not be anywhere near the first time that had ever. It happens a lot, but then the only downside of that is you start crying, then I start crying, and then it's just one big sob fest, right?
Yeah.
But it's for a beautiful reason, and I'm so honored to have worked with you throughout this, Chason. And I know you've already answered the question, kind of how has your brand already helped you, so I won't make you go back through that. But I do want to know, just for curiosity's sake, what was the hardest part for you?
I think the hardest part is telling your own story. I think it's difficult. I come from a family where you don't talk about these things. And there are some people in my family that are not real excited about me talking about my addictions and my homelessness and stuff out in public. That's not something that my family typically does. So it's difficult to have the vulnerability and to be courageous enough to tell your story. And I say that because only because I want to encourage more people to do that, to tell your story and to break out of those molds and get away from those voices. Not that there's anything wrong with your family or your friends, but you need to tell your story and you need to share your journey because you're going to help other people. And that's the whole goal behind the nonprofit, is to help other people. So I appreciate the fact that you gave me the space to do that I felt comfortable doing it, and that you allowed me to tell that story and you helped me hone that message.
Well, thank you for sharing it. You're right. It's hard for people to connect with you on a professional level, especially in a situation like this, when we're talking about living wages and being in the restaurant world and gaining that. Like, if they know you've been through a little bit of hell, they're much more likely to open their mind and heart to you and say, okay, I see you've been there too. Let me help you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chason, you're almost off the hook, sir. You've done a fantastic job.
Yes, you have.
So,
phenomenal.
Awesome.
This question is going to be right up your alley. Okay, so,
All right.
so Tanya and I are both foodies. Like, we love food, and so we'd love to know what is your specialty as a chef.
I like taking dishes that are very traditional and just twisting them all up. So I hated meatloaf as a kid. Hated.
I did too.
I spent so much time in the Southeast, and they love to put all this stuff in the meatloaf. I hate it. And my wife's from South Carolina, and she's used to onions and celery and all this other stuff in meatloaf. Can't stand it. So I learned and I created Italian meatloaf. So I take different cuts of meats, etc., and I put Italian seasonings all in them. And then I make like a football. And inside, I stuff this with ricotta and mozzarella and Parmesan and other cheeses. And then put this together like a football. I'll seal it together. Sauce, put our own sauce on top of it. Let it baste. And when you cut into this monstrosity and get all that cheese and meat and love, then you feel like you have not eaten meatloaf.
Man, I love it. I do too. That sounds like the love loaf, right?
That's what you should call it.
That's right.
The love loaf.
Love loaf.
Jason's love loaf. I love it. I love it. What a great answer. All right. To round us out, Chason, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you so they too can become an advocate for living wages.
Sure. You can get me on all social media channels, but the easiest is to go to hr-4u.org, and you'll see our information there, and there's a contact. And yeah, we would love to have you partner with us or sponsor us or be part of our March for Good event. So yeah, thank you.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at BrandFaceGuide.com.